Okay guys, we are back. This is actually the last video. I know the arrangement of this chapter is kind of odd. We did like 8.1 and then we jumped to 8.3 and then I think it's 8.4 and now we are actually back to 8.2. Is the power and products of exponents. Basically what this chapter or what this topic means is we understand what it means by exponents by now. You know, we have the base, we have the exponents over here. Okay, so what this topic is going to talk about, oh well, what if this is not annoying enough, we are going to put another exponents outside. Okay, so this is the power and then another power, so exponents on top of another exponents. And then we're also going to talk about what it means by the product of exponents. So once we get into the later stage, as you can see, we're going to basically deal with like 3 slides over here. I'm going to give you enough examples and hopefully we'll be able to get this out of the way. All 5 videos, I think I'm up to the 5th one. I could be wrong because I can't remember anything. By the end of this video, all the basic skills with exponents are there. And after this, we're just gonna mix them together and it will get complicated. Things are not always easy. Normally in math, once you have one skill, you have another one. And once you have those skills mixed up, then the equations or things that you have to simplify may get a little bit more difficult. So we've been dealing with this like separate thing all the way. And by the end of this lesson, you're going to do this power and product first. It's quite simple, and then after you finish the quiz, just like any other lesson, you watch this, you're going to have that quiz, then we're going to mix all of this together. Okay, so let's just dive in. So power of power property, if you look into your book, I think it's actually page 378, page 378. They'll talk about something called power of power property. Okay, this sounds like really annoying. Basically, that's the example I gave. I said, if I have a power, let's say, just do a very simple one. Let's use 2. 2 is always simple. Let's have another simple number like 3. And then this is not bad enough. We want to give another exponent. Let's just say I'm going to put a 4 outside. So what the power of power means, the first power is this. Power of a power. I should have a better one, I'm sorry. It was an error. So power of another power. So that's basically what it means, power of another power. This property is really not difficult. I can show you what it means. Basically, we are saying that there are 4 copies of this. We are going to do the long way. So there are 4 copies of 2 to the power 3. So that's the first copy, there's the second copy, the third, and then the 4th. So altogether we have 4 different copies of this 2 to the power 3. And if you remember, when we multiply all of this, we have the same base. We can simply just add all these exponents together. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is going to be 12. Alright, so if you have the power of the power, you can do it the long way, as in you break that into 4 different parts, then you add them up together. However, sometimes you just don't want to do it, you want an easier way. So the easier way, I'm going to show you what I mean by that. If you have this 2 to the power 3 to the power 4, what you have to do is 2 to the power 3 multiply this time, multiply by 4, so you get 2 to the power 12. So these 2 answers agree to each other. Okay, so this is more about multiplying. So it's not the multiplying of this group. I'm talking about multiplying the exponents. So under what circumstances you're going to multiply is when you have the power of power. So you have another power on top of some other things. That's when you multiply. And I want to show you why we don't want to do this particular method over here. because it may not work as nicely as you want. So for example, I'm not going to do something crazy. I'm just going to do 2 to the power of what should I do? Let's just do 3 to the power of 4. Okay, and then this time I'm going to have a power of 100. So if you're doing the long way, you're going to write this like 100 times. You're going to basically go on forever. 3 to the power of 4, 3 to the power of 4. Even writing 2 of this is making me tired. I don't want to do it. So instead, I said if you can notice this is the power of another power, what you can do is get rid of this. It's just 4 times 100. So it's going to be 3 to the power of 400. Alright, our life is much easier. And of course, you may ask, should I do this? Should I do this 3 to the power of 400? My advice will be no, because that is going to be a really, really big number. We can test it. We can see if this calculator is going to be good enough. To the power of 400. See, you don't want to deal with a number like that. That means there are like 190 zeros at the end. We don't want to deal with that. So you're going to leave that as the exponents form, okay? That's, if you don't remember, in the very first chapter, this is the exponent form. You're going to leave the exponents over there. So let's just do some easier thing, or some more example. So let's just give you enough example. So let's say if I have x to the power of 2, and then I'm going to have a power of 5 as an example. So it's x to the power of 2 times 5, 10. Finish. Nothing else you can do. Nothing else you can do. Let's make it a little bit more difficult. Let's say not only we are not going to have number. Let's just have m over here. Okay, so it's m to the power of x to the power of m. You may be like, I don't know what's going on. Don't worry about it. Just check out what's the power outside. Let's say I'm just going to put a 4 over here. So you're going to multiply these two. So it's x to the power of 4m. Nothing else you can do. You can call it good. That's the answer. Things can be even more annoying than this. So I have x to the power of m, and then you have an n over here. Okay, multiply these two. M times n, mn. Nothing else you can do. You can stop right over there. Alright, so power of power is when you see there's like 2 power basically sticking to each other. That's basically the key to this. They're sticking to each other. They somehow glue to each other. Then you multiply them. Okay, so your answer is just that. So in that quiz, you're going to do quite a lot of questions related to that. A lot of the question is related to that. And of course, let's do one that just in case you don't remember how to do it. X to the power of, let's just call it t to the power of 0. Okay, so I'm going to multiply. So it's x to the power of 0. Hopefully you remember by now. To the 0, that's equal to 1. So some of this you can actually solve. Some of this you can actually get to the end. You'll get a number out of it. But most of the time you don't. So it depends on the power itself. If the power is 0, you get 1. If you get to the power of 1, then you get the variable itself. So for you guys who just did the class like 2 days ago or whenever, Tuesday, yeah, when you did that on Tuesday, you basically got to that idea. If it's power to the 0, it's going to be 1. So that is the power of power. When you see that, you multiply that 2 numbers together, and then you're going to get yourself another power, and depending on the scenario, you may be able to do something about it, you may be not. So you have to make up that decision every single time. Okay, moving on to the very last thing. Power of a product. So hopefully you remember what it means by a product. A product in math basically means 2 things multiplied together. Okay, so example, product. 2 times 3 is going to be a product. Okay, multiply 2 things together. X times 10, that's going to be a product. Of course, the answer is going to be 10x. What else? X multiply y, multiplying things together. 4 times x times g as an example. That's also a product. So what this means is power of a product, just like power of the power, you have something called a product sitting in the middle. So you have like the product over here. So it's a whole bunch of things multiplied together, and then you have a power outside. So in this scenario, that's what, power of a product. Okay, so you have a whole bunch of things multiplying like x times y, and then you have a 2 outside. So that is what they mean by that. So let's just look at some real example. We are not gonna, have product over there. This could be like p times r times o times d times u times c times t. That's product, multiplying things together, a whole bunch of variables. But we're not going to go for that. I think that's going to confuse you even more. So product, let's say I'm just going to have 2 times x. We're not going to make it too difficult. Then we have a power outside. Let's just use 5. Why not? So that's what they mean, power of a product. So product is within the parenthesis, and then you have something outside. Alright? Let's give you a couple more examples, and then I will teach you how to do this. Let's say we have, just use this. The product is 4xg. Pay attention to this second example. I'm not going to put that dot over there. Anything right next to each other, they're going to multiply. Not going to do anything adventurous. So this is the power of the product. The power is going to be 2. The exponent is going to be 2. This is going to be your product within the parenthesis. Let's just do 2 and 3. So 2 times 3 this time. That's really annoying. I will just use a dot instead. So a relatively big dot. That means multiply. To the power of 4. So hopefully by now, with these 3 examples, you understand what it means by power of a product. Okay, when you see something like this, the way to deal with it is going to be a little bit different. But it's really not too bad. It's really not too bad. So you may want to remember any of these numbers sitting there on its own, or any of this x sitting there on its own, they will always have a 1 right over there. I'm just gonna put all those 1s over there because it makes it easier to explain. Very similar to the power of the power, this 5 is going to multiply into this 1. Definitely. But in this scenario, you have to be a little bit more careful. Not only it goes with that 1, it also goes in with the other one. So as many items you have in there, you have to deal with the multiplication. Okay, so this is going to be 2 to the power of 5, x to the power of 5. So the answer for that is going to be 2 to the power of 5, x to the power of 5. So long as you have an item in there, you have to be careful about the exponents. It's kind of like a distribute. Like back when we did the distribute, the number has to multiply. If you remember the distribute law, basically it says if I have 2, x minus 5, the next step for that is you multiply all of this in, so you get yourself a 2x minus 10. So that's the distribute. So you distribute that 2 to every single item, and the same applies over here. That exponent is going to be distributed to each of the items in there. So now we got that. So this one, not too bad. You're going to distribute all of this, so you have 4 squared x to the power of 2, y to the power of 2. So every one of this is going to get that multiplication of 2. And I can do something more. 4 squared is easy enough. It's going to be 16 x squared y squared. Okay, this one we can do 1 and 4, so it's going to be 2 to the power of 4. You distribute, you're multiplying, times 3 to the power of 4. Okay, if I have a calculator, I do, but I'm lazy. You can actually find the proper solution for this. It may not be too big as a number. So let's give you a couple more examples. We are getting there. We are really getting there. I have a new page. So let's say we have something like this. X, y to the power of 2, and just put a 3 outside. I don't want anything crazy. And I'm going to distribute this 3. Just always remember there's a 1 sitting there. X to the power of 1 times 3, which is 3. Y to the power of 2 times 3 is going to be 6. Nothing else I can do. Answer. Let's put one with a number in there. 2 to the power of x. Let's make it difficult. -2. Y to the power of 4. Okay. Multiply something by something easy. Don't want anything too difficult. 5. Alright. So remember that when there's nothing over here, there's a 1. Do you have to write this 1 every single time? No. Hopefully you don't have to. So it's 2 to the power of 5. X. So you have to be careful about this multiplication now. Is -2 times 5, -10. Y to the power of, finally, 20. So after last lesson, whatever we did, we cannot stop here. Hopefully you can see it. I'll give you 2 seconds. Okay, 2 seconds is over. You should do something with this. Because I have a negative power. The negative power basically means I have to move this down. It depends on where it exists. If it's on top, I'm going to move that down. So 2 to the power of 5, y 20, and the one with the negative is going to go down. So x to the power of 10. There you go. There you go. Anything else I want to talk about? Possibly not. Like this kind of things will carry over with the zeros as well. Just a very, very quick example at the end. Let's say I have 4x, y, w, z. Doesn't really matter. I can give a 1 over here, 3 over there, and then to the power of 0. Okay? And I'm still going to distribute that. So you have 4 to the power of 0, x to the power of 0, y to the power of 0, w to the power of 0, z to the power of 0. All of this, hopefully by now you know that is 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. I don't know how many ones we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is going to be just 1. Okay, so that kind of idea will carry over, you know, power of 1, power of 0. But all in all, that's basically it. You have all the skills in this chapter. And I think as an experience go, I really enjoyed the past couple of weeks. I think it really helped. And so I'm looking forward for the next chapter. And of course, we are still going to mix all of this together. It's going to last another day or 2. But then we are really getting there. Exponents, we are done. So, when you're done with this video, go and finish that quiz, and then we'll carry on with whatever I have in mind for this lesson. So good luck. Bye for now.